Uh-oh. I am having difficulty connecting here. I'm getting a message that says the Facebook Live page isn't working, so
Uh-oh.
bear with me here. I am having
Okay.
difficulty connecting here. I'm getting a message.
Let me see. Okay.
That's strange. So
Uh-oh.
bear with me here. I am having difficulty connecting here. I'm getting a message.
Let me see.
Rhonda, it looks like that we are live after all.
Oh,
According to
okay.
what I'm seeing on the screen here.
All right, perfect.
So hold on just a minute. Anybody
Okay.
that's watching us, I'm going to make sure that you can in fact see and hear us here. So hold on, everybody in Facebook land. If any of my Achieve Brown counties are out colleagues, Achieve Brown County colleagues are watching, if one of you could just send me a text to let me know that you are seeing us, that would be great. Well, I can see us on our page as I look.
Okay.
So I think we're good to go, Rhonda. That was strange. That didn't set up the way that I thought it would or that it has in the past. But anyway, we'll go with it.
All right, no problem.
Looks like everything's working. Hello, everybody, officially. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you that are joining for the first time, welcome. My name is Spencer Bonney. I'm the Executive Director of Achieve Brown County. And today I am pleased to welcome Rhonda Chandler, who you'll love hearing about. I'm going to turn to her and ask her a whole bunch of questions, as has been the norm in our Facebook Live chats with Spencer, with our other guests. But let me first remind everybody why we do these. So we established these last year as a way of introducing all of you to the work of Achieve Brown County, especially through the eyes, ears, and experiences of our partners in our community. Today's guest is a little bit different than our previous guests. So those of you that have been following along and have been watching these chats know that all of our previous guests represent key stakeholders or formal partners of Achieve Brown County. Today's guest is not what we would call a formal partner of Achieve Brown County, but somebody who leads an organization that is doing incredible work on our community, and that work very much relates to the work of Achieve Brown County. So we'll make some connections along the way here based on what I know about Rhonda and her organization. I'd say that as a next step, Rhonda, between you and me, is having a conversation about how we could work more formally together. But even before we get there, I am thrilled to, again, welcome you to our chats today and give all of our Facebook friends the opportunity to learn more about you and the work of your incredible organization. So Rhonda, welcome formally.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Spencer.
You bet. Rhonda is the founder and executive director of Lovin, the skin I'm in, and I will let her tell you all about herself and the organization that she founded and currently leads in just a moment. Rhonda, first question for you, just more generally, if you wouldn't mind, tell us about who Rhonda Chandler is and
Sure.
your journey, how you got to where you're at today.
All right, absolutely. So first off, I'm a daughter. I'm a mother of three. I have a 20-year-old son, an 18-year-old daughter, and a almost 13-year-old. A wife of 21 years and a social worker of a little over 20 years. And now doing this nonprofit. I grew up in Connecticut. Went to undergrad in Connecticut and grad school in Atlanta. Met my husband when I was an undergrad, and we got married and went to North Carolina, where he was stationed in the military. We got out of the military. He started working for Schneider, and we were in Charlotte for 10 years. And then they offered us the opportunity to come out here. And we have been here almost 6 years now. It'll be 6 years in August. I work part-time for one of the local hospitals, but I've been in social work for 20 plus years.
Awesome. You've been around the block, so to speak.
Exactly,
Lived and
exactly.
worked in
Just
a
a little
number of
bit.
places. To be sure. One of the things that you and I were talking about before we went live here for everybody to see was the difference between Charlotte, North Carolina, and Green Bay, Wisconsin. If you wouldn't mind, talk a little bit about that. Give us a sense of what that transition was like for you and your family and moving here.
Absolutely. So yeah, coming from North Carolina, and then coming to the Green Bay area, just the population size. It's a smaller community here, which I love the smaller community feel. I love being able to get to my destination in 20 minutes or so, and not having to sit in traffic and deal with morning traffic or evening traffic coming from work. However, when we got here, we quickly saw that there was a lack of diversity in the area, in our neighborhood, in the schools, in our community, in our places of employment. Myself and my husband and my kids, we no longer saw a diverse array of individuals. My kids no longer saw professionals on a day-to-day basis that looked like them. Their peers were no longer looking like them. So it was a huge difference between Charlotte and coming here.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
As I said to you before, I can only imagine what that was like for you, your husband, and your children in coming here. And as I shared with you previously, having never lived in Charlotte, but um, making a number of visits there
Mhm.
in my past work, I know how different Charlotte is from Green Bay, Wisconsin, especially from a demographic standpoint, a diversity
Correct.
standpoint. So you came to our community with lived experiences that were probably a lot different than many of us that have lived here our entire lives for a lot
Correct.
of different reasons, even others that have moved here, just like you
Mhm.
and your family have. And my understanding, based on our brief conversation before going live and what I've read about the organization that you founded, is that you founded Loving the Skin I'm In, excuse me,
Mhm.
based in large part on your and your children's experiences here upon moving to our area. So tell us more about that. What led you to founding Loving the Skin I'm In, and the important work that it's now doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just coming here, I noticed the struggles that my daughters were faced with at school, amongst peers, unintentionally and intentionally. I think it's just a lack of education and not knowing, but it severely affected their self-esteem and their confidence. I noticed changes in their behaviors, not wanting to wear their natural hair because of questions or comments about their hairstyles or their hair texture, or just blatant comments about their skin color. So I saw that it was really devastating to them, and it was devastating to me as a mom, because I didn't know what to do. So I selfishly, started looking for resources. How can I get them back connected with their community or with individuals that look like them? And when I was doing my research, the Green Bay, De Pere area, there were no immediate resources.
Mhm.
For them. So out of that, and then I think I was also reading a devotional with some friends about building community. I decided, to build a community for my daughters, really to try to get them back on track. and to help them with their self-esteem and confidence. So, out of that, I started meeting other parents in the community who were transplants like us, who were raising biracial daughters, or who had adopted their daughters, and they were having similar experiences. So, out of that, I decided to open my home and just start hosting the girls and their moms at my house. I was like, just I picked the Sunday in February, and of course it snowed. But everybody, I mean, we had a good turnout. Parents are invested in their daughters and they want to see them um, to be healthy, and they understand that representation matters. So they showed up over to my house, and we've kind of been going, since then. We had to, of course, start meeting virtually because of COVID. But we stayed connected virtually. We hosted meetings. I had young women who grew up here share their experience with the girls, checking in with the girls because of COVID and being so isolated, and going going to school and having socialization and interacting with people, to immediately stopping all of that. So I made sure we tried to stay connected monthly. When the weather turned nice, we were able to get out a little bit and go to the beach and volunteer and do other activities so that they could interact with one
That's awesome.
another. Thank you.
So one of the things I didn't get a chance to share with you in our brief introductory conversation again before we went live is that I too am a parent. I have two teenage children. So when you said just a moment ago that selfishly you founded this organization and pursued its really amazing work for your daughter's sake, I get that, but clearly a lot of what you did then and are continuing to do now was unselfish, and that you saw a need in the community that nobody was addressing, that there weren't any established resources to address, and you brought this all of this together in order to meet that need. That says so much about you and
Oh,
the
thank you.
commitment that you have to not just for your own children, but other girls in the community as well.
Thank you. I appreciate
So
that. Thank you.
very welcome. Just want to give you that shout out and appreciation. That I mean, that's really remarkable that you did that, Rhonda.
Thank you.
You've been leading your organization now for how many years exactly?
Actually, we started last year, and then COVID hit. I was home for about 3 months, and not working. So I just kind of spent that time really, I guess, really doing some me work, and really trying to figure out what is my purpose. What am I supposed to be doing? Like, okay, God, you sent us here. Like, why are we here? Why did you send us to Wisconsin?
Right.
So I just spent a lot of time working on me and doing some soul searching, and realizing, during that time and working with the girls, that there is such a need. The girls really needed this. So I contacted the organization SCORE, and I got a mentor who worked with me, and she helped me devise a business plan. She helped me apply for my 501c3, and that was awarded the first of the year.
Wow.
So I had been doing this kind of unofficially, but we became official the first part of January, early January of this year.
So you wouldn't know that based on going to your website and hearing you talk about all the great things that you've done in such a short period of time. Again,
Yeah.
really remarkable. I didn't fully realize that your organization and its work are relatively still in their infinite.
It is. Yep, it is very.
Given how much you've already done. What have been some of your greatest highlights so far? I know you talked about some of the things that you've done, but among all of those things, what have been some of your greatest highlights? And conversely, what have you learned along the way?
I would say just seeing the girls get together, because they are coming from different school districts, different parts of town, but seeing them get together and really connect with one another. I think that's been so important for me. Um, and then hearing the conversation amongst them, they talk about some pretty important issues, to be so young. And then they deserve a lot of credit because they really have some mature conversations. So I think just really seeing them come together. One of the young ladies expressed, we're like sisters. So feeling that instant connection with one another and being able to communicate, they get along well. Um, they have good dialogue. I give them their time, to talk and have space, and then I just kind of, go away. But I kind of listen to hear what they're talking about, and they're really dealing with some things, but they're able to talk to one another and feel comfortable with sharing with each other.
So what I hear you saying in a lot of that is the immeasurable value of the relationships and sense of belonging that the
Hmm.
girls have engendered
Yep,
among each other as a result of coming together in the way that you created an opportunity for them to come together.
definitely, definitely.
That's awesome. From a youth development standpoint, I said this to my team yesterday in a call that we had. I'm gonna geek out here from a youth development standpoint. So my entire background is in youth development, and one of the things that I have learned along the way, and that when I was with the National Y, we spent a lot of time researching, is what are the key ingredients to a really transformational youth development program, a program that really does make a difference in the lives of young people, short
Hmm.
term and long term. And two of those three ingredients, as we called them, are belonging and relationships. And clearly, what you've created touches on both of those things, and it's made a huge difference again in the lives of the girls that you've brought together and created a really meaningful experience for.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah.
So let's talk about the past year specifically. There's no denying that the past year relative to COVID, the conversations in social unrest related to the injustices experienced by people of color, Black people in particular. Um, More recently, the Derek Chauvin trial verdict, et cetera. So many examples to point to of how this year has been unlike any other. How have you, your family, and your organization navigated all of that? So give us a sense of what that's really been like for you, your family, and the girls that you've been working with.
So I think for my family personally, we've always had to have these conversations. Unfortunately, we've always had to have conversations with our son, about if you're pulled over, and with our daughter, if you're pulled over or if certain incidents happen. So it's it's a part of our world. It's just, at dinner time, we have different conversations. Yes, we talk about our school and what do you have going on in school, but we also have to have different conversations. And what, if you do get pulled over, you need to have your phone on because we need to hear the conversation. You need to contact us so we can come to where you are, etc. Um, so it's just, yeah, ever since I can remember, we've had conversations, with our children or our son who has dreads and the concerns about him growing dreads because of the stereotype and how society will look at him, because he wears his hair a certain way. So it's ever since I can remember school age, middle school, it started in our home. For the young ladies, we provide an open space for them to talk. I've been fortunate to find some young women in the community who are college students, grad students, young professionals who have an interest in working with these girls and giving their time. So, we talk about leading discussions about the recent events that have been happening in our world, in our community, et cetera. And the girls, they feel fairly comfortable sharing with our volunteers because I think they're closer to their age, and they can understand. So they have felt comfortable to open up and to share. So we definitely try to make it a point where they can express themselves and we address what's going on. We don't ever want it to be like this elephant in the room and we're not talking about it. So, we do a check-in. We had a meeting this past Saturday, the Saturday before Mother's Day, where we allowed the older girls, to talk with their leaders and say, hey, what do you think about these recent events that have been going on? How does that make you feel? Because it's so important for them to process though their feelings because they can see themselves, in those individuals that these incidents are happening to, or this could be my uncle or my dad or my brother. So we made it a point to always, have those discussions. We never wanted to not be talked about, and of course, with parent permission, I always ask the parents, do you feel comfortable with us talking to your daughters about that? So they had an opportunity to talk, but they also like did some painting, and so we make it a relaxed environment, but they feel comfortable with the young volunteers that are giving their time.
Thank you for sharing all of that, Rhonda. Two things really, really strike me. So before I share those, want to first acknowledge that as a white person, as a white male in particular, I could never fully appreciate and understand what it's like for you, your husband, your children, families and children in our Black community. As a parent, yeah, I can relate to what you said about having certain conversations with your kids. But it really strikes me, and I know this intellectually, but to hear you say it in the context of our chat and process it, if anything, from an emotional standpoint, it really strikes me that the kind of conversations that you've had to have with your children, even before this past year and the extraordinary events that have happened, simply because of the color of your skin, are just so, I can't even fathom what that's like, for obvious reasons. But again, it just really, really struck me in this moment. The other thing that's really struck me is how you've created a space, particularly through your organization, for the girls that you serve and work with, to have the kind of conversations in which they're sharing very openly and honestly how they're doing. You're keeping it real as much as possible and giving them an opportunity to experience what they're experiencing together, and benefit from the support that you and other your mentors and other people connected to your organization are offering. I think that's really pretty remarkable as well, that you've very intentionally created that space for them to help them navigate however they can the outsized challenges that they're facing right now as a result of everything that's going on. So I just wanted to share those two things. Really, really struck me from an emotional standpoint, just right now in this moment, hearing you talk about them. So thank you again for sharing that.
Thank you. No problem. Yeah, no problem.
So I'm looking at the clock here. I promised it would go fast, and I feel like
oh my goodness,
it's hard to believe that we're down to the last 5 minutes here. But want to end on asking a couple of questions. I'll ask these two together.
Okay.
Just in the essence of time, as you look to the future for Lovin the Skin I'm in and the amazing work that you're doing, what are your top priorities for the future? Where do you see going with all this, or what do you see as the greatest opportunities? And then that second question is really born out of trying to make a connection between the work that Achieve Brown County does and the work that your organization does. So from an opportunity standpoint, what stands out to you as opportunities for us to strengthen the relationship that we have and collaborate with each other?
So first off, I think just making an impact in the lives of these girls. We work with girls as young as 7, and we want to have an ongoing relationship with them throughout their academic career and beyond. Um, so making an impact in their lives, exposing them to opportunities and experiences that will get them beyond their neighborhood, beyond their community, so that they can, take on the world. I think the sky's the limit for these young girls, and they are our future. So they'll be able to do anything if we equip them to do so. Um, I'd love to see us collaborate, maybe, do some type of pilot program, or where we focus on a target age, and to see the impact of our program and what we offer on their lives academically, how it affects their self-esteem and confidence, how they value themselves, their culture, and their identity, and just kind of, focus on them from a certain age, whether it's 5th grade until they graduate from high school, and even beyond, just to kind of track them and see what impact this type of organization would have on them when they see folks that look like them and have folks that are genuinely invested in their well-being, just how successful and dynamic they can be.
That's awesome. I would love to have that conversation with you. I'm sure I'm speaking for my colleagues who are watching too.
Awesome.
They would love that as well. In fact, like I said before we started here, I think we went into that, into our Facebook Live conversation with that great hope that this would be the beginning of a lot of conversations
Yes.
forward about how we could work together. And I'm absolutely convinced, based on everything that we've talked about, that those opportunities exist. So again, would love to do that.
Forward to it.
And when we're done here, you and I can talk offline about how we make that happen. But very last question for you, Rhonda, in the last couple minutes that we have together, is there anything else that you'd like us to know about you, the work of your organization, anything that you wish I had asked about that I didn't get a chance to?
I would just ask that you share this resource. Anyone listening to this Facebook Live, share this resource. Let parents know, let students know that this resource is out there. They can contact us on our various social media platforms. I would also say, if you have any talents, come and share your gifts and your talents with our girls. They want to learn and they want to have a good time. So share your gifts, share your talents with us. Most importantly, if you feel led, donate to our organization, because we have so many plans for these young ladies. Of course, we will need the help of funding to do so. And lastly, just wanted to share that Lovin' the Skin I'm in is a finalist in the soup event put on by the current young professionals. So
Awesome.
We will be there next Thursday, the 20th. So please come out and support us. Check us out. Visit our social media platforms.
Well, we will do our best to get the word out from our own platform. I'm sure my colleague Nikki is listening, and Nikki, this is a cue for you.
Awesome.
Let's work with Rhonda to spread the great word about the work that she and her organization are doing. Rhonda, you said, just to close us out here, you said something just a moment ago that I want to share back with you. You asked people to share their gifts and talents with your girls. And just in closing, I want to say that you and your family are a gift to our community.
Oh, thank you.
And the work that you're doing for those girls is such a gift for them. So thank you for sharing your gifts with us and with them. And I cannot begin to tell you how excited I am to get to know you more. And
thank you. Looking forward to it.
So that wraps us up. Rhonda, again, thank you so much for making time to speak with me today and to share with all of our Facebook friends about the work that you do and the experience of the girls that your organization serves. We have another chat coming up here very, very quickly. In fact, I'll be sitting down with the president and CEO of President and CEO of the Brown County United Way, Robin
Awesome.
Davis,
Yeah.
here
Awesome.
in a couple of Mondays from now. So those of you that are watching, I hope you'll come back and join us then. Thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me.